Hello, friends, and welcome back to Lumastic Live, the show where me and Joshua spend our little Friday mornings sipping on, a variety of beverages, and just talking about what's going on as we try to build this community of collaboration on the internet. Joshua, this week
So
we're talking about a creative identity, right? An identity crisis. It was a topic we briefly discussed in our last Lumastic Live, and I'm excited to jump into it. But first, as always, how was your week, Joshua? You're in a different location
I
once
am.
again.
I
Tell
am.
everyone
I
what's
am.
going on.
I know. I feel like amongst all the Lumastic lives, I was like in Charlottesville, home,
Randomly at the beach.
South Beach. Yeah, right. South Beach. I think there's another. No, maybe not. And now I'm in Baltimore, Johns Hopkins.
Yeah,
Yeah. No.
Johns
So
Hopkins.
it's good. I hope the Wi-Fi here is better for the sake of Lumastic Live. I joked with you last week that like if it isn't, I'm gonna go to the store and be like, run me your best Wi-Fi right now, please. Um, but no, it's really good. I came in Tuesday, started getting like acquainted. Still doing part-time work, so I haven't like gotten to explore too much. But every time there's
Mhm.
like a 20-minute break, I go and walk on campus, try to get acquainted with the
Nice.
buildings. It's much smaller than UVA, obviously, because it's like
Really?
in this. I
In a
feel I
city?
feel like, yeah. I mean, I if I
Smaller
walk the
or just
whole,
more dense?
maybe more. No, I would say smaller, just because
Wow.
UVA has more. No, actually, that's the main campus, definitely, because I know Johns Hopkins
Mm,
has like places all over the world because of like Bloomberg School of Public Health has like a lot of centers
right, right.
everywhere. Um, but like you can walk. I went on a run this morning, like around the campus, like around Main, and it was like, and then it was like 2 miles, which wasn't bad. Like walking to like the main street seems shorter. I don't know. Maybe it's just for me, it just seems like smaller, like
Easier to get
definitely,
around.
yeah, like easier to get around. Like I was already like, oh, I kind of know where these buildings are, versus like at UVA I was still like into my last semester, like where's the architecture like building, and I didn't realize it was like right by Lambeth,
Well, they
which I
hide
lived at for the.
themselves. They hide
Yeah,
themselves. They're like
they
on
really
their own
do.
little campus. They're in their own little world over there. The arts
Yeah,
grounds. Arts
yeah.
grounds.
So but yeah, it's
Well,
been
Joshua, that's
fun.
very exciting. That's very exciting. And we were talking briefly beforehand. You're in like a creative boot camp.
Yeah,
tell
yeah,
everyone tell everyone about that.
yeah, so in the program or Center for Bioengineering Innovation and Design. It's a 1 year master's at Johns Hopkins. And the first week they call it boot camp. And I assume it's just because they take us through like a lot of sessions of what the program will be like and try to like give us mini projects that kind of encompass what we'll be doing throughout the year. So like one day is like building business models. One day is like disease research. One day we talk
Mm,
to accelerator. We go to the hospital one day to like get our badges because one of our classes is called like needs finding in medicine. And
cool.
so this is one of the things I thought Johns Hopkins had a really cool design approach, is that a lot in healthcare, like a lot of times I feel like companies will kind of come up because you find a doctor and you come up with ideas together. And so
Hmm.
engineers aren't really brought into the hospital like in surgeries, but Hopkins, their methodology is like, no, you should be shadowing the doctor like every day and shadowing a
Cool.
department, asking them questions constantly, stuff like that. Like an experience you don't get like at a lot of the other programs I was applying to.
Yeah,
So very like I feel like empathy driven, because you're they focus on people way more, which like is so important for design,
we
like so
love that.
important. Yeah, we
It's so
do love
important
that.
for healthcare.
Yeah, very important for healthcare. There I was talking to one person in the program, and she's coming from Boston Scientific, and she was saying that it was like very salesy, and like how
Mm,
like that can like lead to not prioritizing the patient first. And I was just like, I've never been in industry, or at least yet. And so it's like it was a cool, crazy thing to hear, because like you would think in healthcare, but I'm sure
yeah,
healthcare is just complicated everywhere.
right.
Really. So, but yeah, that's the 1 week boot
Wow.
camp starts next week. I'm excited for it. I'll have a lot to share at the next Lumastic Live. And
Yeah.
I'm sure I can't wait to share it with Drew, because I know Drew, you're gonna have so many thoughts, and we can have like really just like a deep dive conversation just into everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, content. Yeah.
Yeah. And speaking of content, the last week with the interns, like give your weekly update.
Oh my goodness. Well, yeah, I just in at the top of this show right here, we are um a week and a half basically into our internship program through IPP at UVA. So we have three interns, Hannah, Jeffrey, and Snigta, working for us. And I just want to say, because I know they all are hopefully watching, um, you guys have been so great. I'm just like so proud and grateful to each one of you for like how much you've even grown and learned over just the short time we've had here. I think has been a great way to start off this like relationship over the next 8 weeks, and I'm just excited to see how you guys like learn and grow even further. Like if this first week is indicative, I think that it's going to be a an excellent time together. And yeah, in particular, Jeffrey's been working on technical development stuff, and he's been like jamming on tutorials like nobody's business. Snigda had like a little riff with the international students office, and so she couldn't start for the first couple days, but has hit the ground running with doing business development work. She's in the comm school, and so we're having her help with creator outreach, kind of like building our I don't know, like trust with creators as we go into kind of a more sales cycle. We're calling it creator success, the creator success team.
That's
And
awesome.
then Hannah's been Hannah's a YouTuber. She's a creator. If I could figure out how to do this, I would add her channel to the description. But look up Hannah Han. She has like 11 subscribers, I think, but she's like really has already a great eye for like editing, pacing. She's obviously a very good student of the platform, and so she's been taking these recordings of Lumastic Live and turning them into super funny clips that we can share on Instagram and TikTok. And that has just been like fantastic for us in terms of building our messaging and our brand's voice, and like it's just like super vital. And so yeah, I'm just like really pumped for them to explore more stuff over the course of the internship, and I think it's just been great. I can't not say that enough. Like it's just been great. Like
Yeah,
um it's like off it's like the first time that it's really been an offload in a way that I feel like I really like. Chelsea and I especially really have to feel like we need to put on manager hat more and learn how to do that. And so I'm grateful that like they in particular have been so easy to slip into that role with and learn for ourselves how to don that hat. Yeah, so I'm having a great time. I feel good that I get to like believe that things are just happening, right? Like as I get to work on freaking building a text editor, like for our coming features with the board. So yeah, it's been cool.
yeah, I saw that in your Instagram takeover, the text editor
Hmm.
description. How is that going? Like, is it since then? Like, is it almost done?
Oh no.
No.
um, yeah, basically, right after filming that Instagram story, which you can go see on our Instagram at This Is Lumastic, I realized that the way I had implemented that feature was like inherently wrong, like, and that there was like a big thing I needed to structurally change with how the text editor works to make it work. And I still have not completely solved that problem, but I have at least drafted the solution on our whiteboard.
It's awesome. We
So
love
now
to see it.
yeah, we're making progress, but this is definitely, I think once this is all over, I'm gonna have to make like a 2 hour, like, let me walk you through how to build a text editor in JavaScript. Like just because I'm sure we are not alone with facing a lot of these challenges. And like I sit
Yeah.
there and try to like YouTube, like Google shit, and um like see what other people have done, and it's just really difficult because there's not a lot of content. And so I think if we can share what we've found, right, like, and this is how I'm going to transition now into our next thing, which is the video I made on identity crisis. right, it's the my tagline, my working tagline for my videos now is like, I'm telling stories of things I learned the hard way so that you don't have to, right? And like this is one of those, right?
Yeah,
It just says more technical.
it's so
Yeah, but
needed.
it is so needed,
So
right?
needed.
All right, but transitioning here, Joshua. I made a video. We talked
Yeah,
last
let's talk
Lumastic
about the
Live.
video. I feel like
Yeah,
let's
yeah,
talk about
yeah.
the
Let's dive into our time.
let's
Let's give
dive.
the
Yeah,
people
yes.
what they want.
Yeah, this is a juicy
This is a
topic.
juicy topic,
Yeah, this
right?
is a very juicy topic.
Yeah, and speaking of juicy topic, I'm being a bad streamer and I'm not keeping the chat up to see what things are happening. Oh, I had to put a heart in the chat.
Let's
Wow.
go.
I've been seeing way more TikToks this week on the Lumastic Insta and was wondering who was doing it. Great job, Hannah. Yay! We love the support. Thank you, Faith. Okay, yes, but Joshua. So last Lumastic Live, we talked briefly at the tail end about how I I don't know, I'd probably say still currently experiencing, right, this like identity crisis of like who am I? What am I doing? Like right,
Yeah.
and so I then wrote like a
Well, specific
script. Oh, sorry, you go.
for people, I just want to for people who are just joining this Lumastic Live, like
Mm-hmm.
I think give a bit more context of like what that entails for you, like the dilemma you were
Sure.
going through with like you're making a platform for creators, but you wanted to initially start off as a creator, so that's where
Yes.
kind of like the idea started. I think like give a bit just a brief the spark notes
Yeah.
of that.
So yes.
Yeah, the
Great.
spark
Okay.
notes.
So the Spark Notes version, if this is your first Lumastic Live, Lumastic is a platform.
It goes
But
immediately into ad.
yeah,
Immediately into ad. You get a,
but
yeah.
really, 3 years ago, I was working on a YouTube channel called Curiository, where I made videos where I took seemingly mundane things and then told stories about how they were like actually asking questions about those stories can actually show really profound things about like the human condition. And in doing all that work, I realized how like lonely, frustrating, and hard it is to like plan, organize, edit, collaborate, like do all the things that creators have to do because like we don't have very good tools because this job is so new. And so that was the impetus for starting Lumastic, right? Like let's build tools that help people on the internet make stuff. And yeah, so then over the next 3 years, the whirlwind journey, I just like became a person who was more starting a startup and less of a creator. And like a couple of months ago, that like just really, really hit me in a way that I couldn't vocalize at the time. It just like felt like I was stuck in my own life, that I was like not doing the things I found creatively fulfilling. And so I was having this like crisis of identity of like, is this who I am and what I want to be doing like on the daily, which is like building software company, and in particularly like being a startup company. And we have a couple of Lumastic lives about how like we divulged away from seeing ourselves as a startup and now see ourselves as more like a small software company. And I'm gonna make a video about that eventually.
Awesome.
But yeah, and so with talking with Sarah and my parents and mentors and whatever, I just realized that this kind of idea of the reason I got into the game being lost and feeling like a part of me was lost, just like has come to a head, like kind of full circle. And so we talked last Lumastic Live about me going back to my roots about like why I care about this so much, and it's the fact that I identify as a creator and I want to do that, and I just wasn't doing that. And so I used this frustration as fuel to get back in the saddle. I made a video last week on my channel for the first time in like 8 months.
An awesome video, by the way. Everyone should go check it out at Drew's channel. Drew, look up Drew Lytle.
Thank you. Yeah, and it's done really well. My metrics of success, like I say it's done really well. If you looked at like view count or whatever, it seems to have not done very well. But of the, I think 52 people who have viewed this video, I've gotten like 12 text, Instagram DMs, whatever, of people being like, thank you for saying these things. I'm going through
Really?
this too. And it's very nice to feel validated. And I was like, bang, like
That's important stuff. We talked
yeah,
about it in
that's
Lumastic Live, getting
exactly.
the communication, building community.
Exactly, building community, and even with a small audience, having an engaged audience, because that's the thing that really matters. Hannah, that's something that was alluding to in our what analytics actually matter conversation. um,
Yeah.
yeah, so that's like recap. Was that good enough, Joshua?
No, that was perfect. That was perfect. Right on. Like, um, yeah. So talk a bit more about, I guess, no, people should go check out the video. I'm not going to say like summarize the whole video here because we want them to check out
Yeah,
your
we need
channel.
to up
But
those numbers. We need, we
the
need to
engagement, the engagement. We need to get more DMs to Drew. More DMs to Drew. Let's
yeah,
get it.
yeah.
Let's get it to 20. Let's get it to
Let's
20 by
yeah,
next
get
week.
those instant DMs to
Yeah,
20.
we're setting those goals, those OKRs, that whatever the other startup terms there are, project managing over here. But no, I think the most important part talking about is like you were talking about that you last week that you haven't made a video in so long and you felt so detached.
Mhm.
I want to explore that part, and that was like a main part of your identity crisis. So I want
Yeah.
to kind of explore and ask how it was making that video, and now it seems
Mm.
like you have ideas for new ones. Seems
Yeah.
like you're about to get on like that role of making more videos, kind of like
Yeah,
with the
baby.
blogs and stuff like that. So I want to,
Mm.
how was that? Like, how was it to kind of like go back and think through it? And did you feel good after? Did you feel like more whole, like your heart was more whole or something? Whatever. I don't know what term to use, but
Yeah, yeah. Joshua, I'm still trying to sift through the how to express the feeling, but I mentioned this, like one of the lines in the video is like um well, like one of the reasons I made the video was because I wanted to make a video. And that's kind of like one of the conclusions of this identity crisis. And I mentioned how making videos makes me feel more like me. And that is like really how it felt the whole time. Like I I had forgotten how much I love that medium. This this medium is a little different because it's a live stream, but like um just like crafting a story and communicating a message just like makes like gets me going. I'm like
yeah.
and yeah, it's just it's like a powerful force in my life. I don't know if I've like talked about this a lot, but literally everything I track like basically everything good that's ever happened to me to like specific videos, like making specific videos. Like I this has never been confirmed to me, but I am like pretty sure the only reason I got into UVA was because of a video I made saying please take me off the wait list, and I sent it to the admissions committee.
What is it called? The
Uh,
10th page? That
yeah,
was
my 10th sheet. Yeah,
10th sheet.
because yeah, right, back in the day, the Common App was like 9 sheets of paper you'd stick in a manila envelope and send it off. And so I was like, hey, these 9 sheets of paper are not my full story, and so like I am gonna make a video talking about why I think I would do really well at UVA and like why that is good for UVA. Um, and yeah, swear that's what got me off the wait list and like completely basically changed the trajectory of my life. The lighting of the lawn video that I made, I swear is the only reason I got hired at UVA. The what makes instruments sound different video is, I swear, the only reason I got my job at the Smithsonian. Like everything. And even like the reason I got into Lighthouse Labs, I'm pretty sure was because of the pitch video I made, right? Because where everyone else is sending in those like, let me just like sit in front of my phone and just like describe my business to you, mine was like I fucking green screened the background and like like did a whole presentation, like yeah. And so I have just like a strong, it's almost like a bond
With
between like,
videos.
yeah,
Yeah.
me and these videos, and also just like the fact that when I feel I am in a bind, like that is my go-to tool.
Medium. Yeah.
Yeah, and like tool to fix it. Um, and yeah, so it felt, this is the answer to your question, is just it felt awesome. Like
That's yeah. I'm so
and it felt so
glad to
awesome
hear
that
that.
I'm like getting back into this like addictive nature of doing it. And like I'm recording another one right after our marketing meeting today that's gonna go out on Monday. And I'm just doing my best to like make it into a practice. Um and so that I don't ever lose it again, in a way,
Yeah.
so I don't ever like forget again. Okay, so I was just sorry, I'm gonna
No,
divulge
this
into a
is
different story.
I okay, I
So
have also additional thought of like let's circle back to this. Let's keep a note
okay,
of it.
we'll pin this one. I
Yeah.
promise this tangent story is related, but I have a potassium deficiency, and I got diagnosed with that in high school. And then about a year ago, I changed and so I like changed my diet. I like did a bunch of stuff. And the specific thing I did was I ate potatoes literally every single fucking day. All through college. Like it was like my routine.
Yeah.
And it's because potatoes, fun fact, are more dense in potassium than even bananas.
Wow.
And just like a year ago, basically at the start of COVID, we stopped eating potatoes because Sarah was like, Drew, I'm getting tired of like potatoes and eggs every day. And I was like, okay. Like I had like completely forgotten why I did that.
Yeah.
And then I got super sick. We thought I had COVID. I was like
Oh, I
passing
remember
out.
that.
Yeah, it
You were
was
sick for like
horrible.
a month,
Yeah, it's like
right?
it was horrible. And so I went to the doctor and was like, I feel like garbage, like, and I don't know what's going on. I've gotten COVID tested twice, like what's happening. And they started doing a bunch of tests on me, including like an EKG. They made me like pee in a cup, like all these things. And so I asked the nurse, I was like, are you testing me for diabetes? And they were like, yeah. Because like a lot of your symptoms are tied to you maybe being a diabetic. And I was like, oh yeah, I recognize a lot of the tests from when I got diagnosed with a potassium deficiency in high school. And the nurse goes, you have a potassium deficiency? And then they're like, hang on. And then the doctor goes back in and they're like, Drew, you have a potassium deficiency? And I was like, yeah. And she was like, what do you do for that? And I was like, I don't know. They told me to change my diet and like take a couple supplements. And she goes, do you do that? Like, I was like, well, I did, but I recently changed my diet. I stopped eating potatoes. She's like, go do that again. And literally, like, it was just this thing of I
That's
had
crazy.
forgotten something that was like very
Very
important,
important.
right? Right. And causes me to be sick
Yeah.
and unhealthy if I don't do it. And I feel like that's kind of what happened to me with making videos, right? I've gotten distracted, I've divulged, I've like forgotten that that is something that
Yeah.
brings me so much joy. And now it's like, okay, I never want to forget this again. So like let's make it a practice that I do this, right? This is
Yeah.
just a part of me. It is eating potatoes. It is like
Yeah.
it's just a part of the routine. All
That's a
right, so that
great
is that yeah, that is my recap.
No, I feel like that ties in. So, I mean, that ties into what I was gonna say even perfectly, and it's like great comparison. But
Mhm.
so like with Arena Labs, like one of the projects I'm working on right now is with someone who's in charge of like coaching
Mhm.
in their department. So like coaching physicians, like how you goal set and all these things, and like thinking about like how you like different goals you set and like performing better and like career goals and even like personal and all these things,
Yeah,
and then
yeah.
how you take that and like put it into a model. And so like we were sitting down like a lot of meetings this week,
Mhm.
and I was working on like how you visualize that model. And like one thing like we were, I mean, I think that's just like really important. And I was thinking about it, and Brian Ferguson, when I told you last week, like, you know, how he like takes a chunk out of his day to just like
Yeah, yeah.
write, and that's like his medium and stuff like that. But like a huge part of it is like also he elicits like a lot of reflection, and we were talking about like
Mm.
to stay on track. Um,
Yeah.
it's like so important to have reflective practices like in your everyday so that
Yeah.
stuff like that doesn't happen. You know, it's like realizing like you just got sick because you stopped eating potatoes, or like realizing because it's so easy to get caught up in the like speed of things, and like everything's moving
Right.
so fast.
And not take
um
time to be like,
Yeah.
how is this affecting things? Why? Like,
Yeah.
what's going on? Let's check in.
Yeah, exactly. And so like it's like it's we were thinking it's like it's just a constant cycle of like being aware of like everything that's happening and then like also executing on it to like figure out what stuff like really um like matters to you and like having your own form of like just remember to prioritize stuff for yourself at the end of the day because sometimes you can
Yeah.
get like bound to different projects or like weigh things differently and then like not realize it just like in your case for like videos.
Hmm.
I feel like for me a lot of it was um like creative stuff like I got
Hmm.
like we had a Lumastic live a long time ago about like kind of creative confidence and like what that means and like just
Yeah.
doing things. That was something like I lost. I felt like in the beginning of college and like
Mm.
doing stuff and like going through those things and then that was like probably one of the worst times until I started to like literally reflect and realize like wait, I like lost sight of the thing that like makes me the most happy, which is
Yeah.
like doing like a bunch. For me it's like I like working with a lot of projects. I like trying a lot of things. Like I like the thrill of those things and then yeah and then it led to like probably one of the best times I would say of my life which was like literally starting Ripple and like
Yeah.
meeting you joining Lumastic like Arena Labs and now like that's my jazz. Like when someone's like, do you want to go to I'm like, no, I would do this like just help startups for the rest of my life. Like there's like this meme, it's like to this day like I would still do this like and no that's but like it's really important
Yeah.
and I was just thinking through that like model this week because it's like so
Mm.
important. Like even thinking like where I want to go or like vision of like where you want to be. And
Yeah.
like this is like also I feel like super applicable to you in the sense that you have Lumastic, which is your baby,
Hmm.
and you need it. You want to take it somewhere as well, but you also don't want to like lose that track of that other huge thing in your life, which like obviously is huge. If you're like, if every single memory you have is tied to a video, I think that's like a huge sign, Drew. Like huge sign, like humongous. Like you're literally framing life through videos, so you should continue videos. Like that's not. Yeah, I feel like
Josh was like, "That's
yeah.
unhealthy. That's not good."
No. No. I mean, I have my own bit of unhealthy practices, but we're supportive over here. But no, I think that's like it's your medium, like you said. It's like it helps contextualize things for you. It's fun.
Yeah.
It's also the thing that's driving you to do Lumastic at the end of the day to help other
Exactly.
people.
Yeah.
It's just the fact that you just need like the time for the videos. And
Yeah.
you have
Exactly.
the other two things. It was just like it's easy to get like I said, like if you don't realize and kind of elicit that like reflection again, it's really
Yeah.
easy to get caught up in like the mess or the speed of life, which is like
Yeah.
normal and
Yeah.
happens and will happen.
Yeah, and one thing you talked about was like this idea of having the reflective practice. I also think that um like in a way that creative outlet, like for me making videos whatever, like is is the reflective practice, right? Like I've recently, this is going to sound really weird, but I've been recently like thinking about this idea of um like why people go to church, right? And like it's for a lot of reasons, but one of them is right that time of every Sunday, whatever day it is with your religion and practice, like you're taking time to do this um this thing, this one action of like taking time to reflect and like learn something and kind of be still and all that stuff. And it's like time for you to like recenter yourself in a way, and like find community and like do these things. And I've been thinking about how um, this like identity crisis, um, or I've been like reading about how this is also sort of tied together with a lot of times when people go through like crises of faith, like um, and how people like losing their faith or like discovering something new about themselves, whatever, is like that is the it's this like growth edge like period of like cutting through something new, you know. And I don't know. I'm like still trying to figure out words to describe this, but um, I'm now thinking more about me being a creator, like making videos on the internet, less as like this is something I want to do necessarily to like grow an audience or like whatever. Um, and more thinking about it as like this is almost like a religious experience. Like this is time for me to write something out about what I feel at this time, right? Like this is this week. This is how I'm feeling at this time and this is how I'm like moving through and reflecting on it, and now I'm creating something, putting it out into the world every week, and like that is my like practice, right?
Yeah,
Yeah, I don't know. What do you think about that concept?
I think it's really important. I mean, I think that is one of the reasons people go. And I think that no matter like if you like are religious or not, there is a practice, and or like people will notice like there is a practice usually people will try to establish in their weeks. So similar to
Yeah.
what you said, to like think about things, and then when sometimes they lose track of that, like you said, like they can lose track of life, or like go through like you say a very like changing
Yeah, like
moment. I
people can feel lost,
Yeah,
right?
I
Like
actually want to pull up a document or like, so one of my mentors, I'll probably just like roll through, but they have a be better
mm,
every single day. They have a be better, a document that they call be, let me try to find, it's like be better. It
be
sounds very
best.
be best. Let me try.
Mahayana.
Oh, be better every day, I think it is. And so what it is,
Mm,
it's a document they continue every single year.
mm.
They update it, and it goes through very much so like the reflection process, and they break it's elaborate, like there's an agenda to it, it's like 10-page
Whoa.
document. But think it's really important, and I was thinking about it this week because I was thinking about the identity crisis thing, and like I feel like at some point, like every I was thinking about when I've had it the most and things like that, and
Mm,
what's helped. And I've like last year, I in the beginning of like COVID, because there was a lot of uncertainty, I met this mentor, sent me this document and had some practices in it, like how you goal set for the year, some things you
mm,
think about. In the document, they keep track of their relationships, how that's going, like career, and then also like personal mental health. And then they like
mm.
reflect, they link documents of like separate reflections in this main document. And so like I was did that practice like in the summer, and like I remember I started it on the plane because I was flying to London to visit my mom, and I actually like pulled up a document that I wrote. It was like a letter to myself for like
Yeah.
the next year, and it was
Yeah, yeah,
actually kind
yeah.
of like wild reading it back because in that letter I was talking about like growing Ripple. I had in the document like I'm meeting cool people, like you're in this document, like I was like
Oh.
I just met Drew. It was like in July or June. And I was like
Wow.
finding all these things like are really cool, like make sure you hold on to those things. And it was like a letter to myself, like a pep talk.
Whoa.
And then I also have like I'm talking about like grad school and like things I need to do. And I felt it was so weird because it was like that reflection process that I was trying to like hold on to or start. And it
Mm,
it led to like a lot of things. And I think like one of like my better years in terms of like career goal setting, at least. There's obviously
mm,
like things I personally think like need to improve on in other fields, but I just want to like talk about the structure of this document because I think it frames well what we're talking about, like in regards to identity crisis and like the things people have to like kind of think through that they
yeah, yeah,
don't
yeah.
necessarily give the time and means. Or
While you do this, I'm gonna be right back. I need to grab something that's
all
relevant
right,
to
all
this
right,
conversation. So
okay, yeah, go grab
it's
it.
your stream, Joshua. Go.
All right, I'll try to keep it. I have no idea where the chat is, so if people are chatting and talking to me, I will not be able to respond. But I'll give a brief. Yeah. So the document I'm about to pull up is called the Be Better Everyday document, and they break up their their year plans for like updated thoughts of the year, their past year. Oh, Drew's back. I think I did a good 20 seconds of filling it in.
I didn't have to go very far.
Yeah. So do you want to show your thing first?
um, Sure. Well, I just like I feel like it's relevant to what you're talking about. So, um, one of these spin-off products, because we didn't have a business model for Lumastic for a long time, and so this is a prototype reflection journal that I developed called the Dream Catcher. I don't know.
Ooh,
I don't know if this is able for anybody to see this on
it's
the
better
screen.
there. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. There we go. There we go. And literally, this is like I made this in InDesign. And it's literally just like a book that I made to try to like be like one of those prompted reflection things. And so it has like four sections. The first one's like identify, and like I prompt like a bunch of questions like I am, I love, I have, I want. And then dream is the like where you want to go, and then I have like a bunch of quotes that I really like on the side of the book. And yeah, then in the dream section it's I wish, I can, I will. And then plan is like a daily kind of to-do list idea. Here, I'm trying to figure out how to get this in focus, whatever. But I have these like 5 tenets of growth that I kind of like we used to really really delve into, and now I've like completely stopped using the system, which maybe I should go back to it because it sounds very similar to what you're saying. But
Yeah.
I divided my life into like like five tenets. Constitution, which is physical and mental well-being. A lot of these are based on Dungeons and Dragons. Connection, which is like your valuable social, familial, and romantic relationships. Exploration, which is like finding and evaluating new interests or activities. Cultivation, which is developing and tending to the activities you already enjoy. And then contribution is gifting to others your knowledge, time, or resources. And so then like every single day I'd go through and make a to-do list based on those 5
Wow.
things. Like, what am I going to do today for those 5 aspects of my life? And yeah, it's like super. I'm like now thinking about this more. Like, this is a
When did you make that?
my 3rd year of college.
Oh,
But
wow.
so this is based on a system that I used to use in like a big old spreadsheet. Back when I was like super, super into like self-development and productivity. Hannah, basically like where you are now. um, Hannah said, "Dang, can I have this document?" Yes, I will say, I think that the reason I stopped using this is because it felt to me like almost prescriptive, like and rigid. But I guess like that's the reason you do use one of these is so that it is like a constant point in your life to like look back on.
Yeah. But I think what's really cool is that like it doesn't people can make it so it's overly rigid and like make sure you do this like and like you said rigid and prescriptive. But I think the thing that's really cool is that like it is good to have like those basic like or 5 core principles, and you can like do whatever you want with them. But like just to go
Right.
back and have them like remind yourself. Like I think it's a good practice to just like remind yourself of these things or like think about those things like because it elicits reflection. If you have like a list of the 5 things you need to focus on in your life, it's not that
Right.
rigid, it's pretty broad, and then it's just you take what you do with it. But I think it like sets you on the right track, because I do agree that like
Yeah,
sometimes
I'm gonna
when
print
things
out
are
another
too
one of these.
rigid, yeah, you should. I mean,
Because
I think
literally I'm just like as you're talking, Joshua, I'm thinking about you're totally right. Like if I had just like I'm wondering if I had looked at this, right? Like if there was a practice in my life to like look at this and think about these things, right?
yeah,
Because the things I'm talking about that have caused this identity crisis is like not thinking about anything except this one, right? Right, like right, which
yeah,
is delving too much into one area of and even one project inside that area that is like cultivation, right? Um, uh, yeah, so interesting. Okay, cool. Maybe I'll like take a crack at back at this, and maybe I'll like share this in a public Google Drive link or whatever if you want to like look at it, check it out.
yeah.
Yeah, I think that would be a cool thing to share. This this notebook is so whack too because this is made out of a purse, a leather purse
I
that
was
I got
gonna
at
ask
Goodwill.
when you said is it made, like you were gonna say it's made out of, and I was gonna say it looks like a purse,
Yeah,
like
yeah,
material.
exactly.
Yeah.
And so the just to show off this fun little project. Making these journals is super fun. It's just like a little elastic, and then you can take out the pages. So was my idea for the design: is you could take out the pages, print off new ones every month, and then you just like have your own little cover that you can slip then the next set of pages in. That was my idea.
It's pretty cool. I feel like it's needed for, um, like especially because it's a process. It's not a one time book.
Yeah, exactly. And it'd be too many pages. Okay, Faith
Yeah.
also asks, can we share the Be Better document? Are we allowed to share that one?
Yeah, I'll ask. I made a copy of it from. I'll share mine. I
Okay,
will.
cool.
Yeah, I'll share mine.
Okay,
But yeah,
nice.
I'll briefly like go through like the main things that are in this document. So it's like they start with updated thoughts for their past year, and so this is something they work on yearly, usually like um at the beginning of the year. So it's like 2019 to 2020, and then they go
Wait,
into
Joshua,
yeah.
share your screen.
Okay,
Can you do
cool.
that? Is that
Yeah,
okay?
yeah. Let me just pull up the one I was
And then
working on.
and then I'll flip it to your video.
Go to
Do, 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 do.
All right.
Just dead air on the
Oh
screen.
yeah. Sorry.
Just complete dead air.
Okay, can you see it looks kind of cut.
It looks a
Yeah.
little janky. Here, I can try to
Wait,
fix
I can
that.
try to move this over.
Well,
That uh
up,
that
up. Hang on. Um, Here, you keep yours like that, and I am gonna do something. My screen. Hello. Oh Lord. 1 second, everyone. This is just very important. We've got to get this right. Um, all right. I'm gonna push this over. Okay, and now I go here, and then we transition.
Oh, let's go. Okay.
Now we can't. We
Cool.
won't. We won't be able to see Joshua, but we'll at least be
It's
able to see
fine.
his
It's
computer.
fine. You can still hear me, right?
Yes.
All right. So I'll kind of fly through this briefly just because I'll send I want to go back and like edit this some before sharing it, but I just want to go through the structure of it because if I go through everything, it's its own hour-long video, I feel like in itself. But this is like heavily so like I pretty much took their document and kept excerpts from it. So like how he treated the document. Um, and so like if you go to table of contents, updated thoughts, 2021 to 2022, he has one that's like more financial because he's like also at a different point in his life. Planning, goal setting, and thinking about your purpose, thinking through your routines
Mm.
and habits. Um,
So they're more
he
prompted questions.
yeah, and this
That's
is just
very
like the
cool.
main document. So like in it, there is so like updated thoughts. So actually this is his. I haven't still changed, but like for example, he went through a year where he was like trying to figure out like what foods like help him best like perform and stuff
Mm.
like that. So was using Whoop, which was the wearable band, and looking at it to monitor his health. Realized that like coffee wasn't really helping him. He did a couple like blood tests. Like you can do these blood tests that like
Whoa.
pretty much tell you what foods you react to the most. So for him, it was like eggs. So like they realized that like he's not allergic to eggs, but eggs just like aren't the best food to like help him prepare. I don't know what how they assess it in the
Wow.
blood test, but like he has these things like logged in this document.
This is
Um
whack.
yeah, and so like he has all these things that have made him more productive over the year. Um
And so it's really
planning
they're
goal.
like reminders to himself of like or like they're
Yeah.
little notes, reflections of like, hey, this thing has been helpful so that
Yeah.
he has like a space to go of like it's they seem to me almost like reminders too. They're like things that have happened that I don't want to forget or whatever, so I'm going to write them down as a way of like logging them.
Exactly. But then
Mm.
some of the stuff is like for example, he realized he did this thing where he did a gratitude journal or like he would
Mm.
sit down with his wife and at the end of the day and exchange three like good things that they're appreciative of their days.
Mm.
Um writing, like the role of technology, like principles he liked, sleep. There's also one where he ranks. This one is really cool. Let me just sleep. Uh, let me excuse me. I'm just gonna like try to find. Okay, wait, nope, never mind. Oh, this is really cool, and I think this is something you should do also, like in terms of like framing. This is more general of like things you do in
Mm.
your life, but like this would be a cool practice of like ranking like what you find in your career as like
Mm.
how you actually sit and think about like what would you rank. So like this is something I was thinking through this week. Like if I was to rank all the stuff that I do within the week, because it also would help me frame um how, like it would make your weeks better. Like if you start to think
Yeah.
about like for you, prime example, the videos. Like
Mm-hmm.
maybe you were prioritizing something that wasn't like the same amount, and then you
Mm-hmm.
you take the time to like think through and be like, wait, it goes like Lumastic relationships, videos, then like skateboarding and all these other stuff, whatever, right? Like it's just like I feel like good practice. And again, this document's really cool because it's like a reminder document, like you said. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and yeah, so I'm nowhere near like this, but like
Yeah,
I'm
this
definitely
is
taking it through.
this makes me afraid. Like I'm
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm
um,
switching back.
okay. But doesn't this is shouldn't be like make anyone afraid. What the core principle that I got from this, I don't do it,
Right.
I don't organize it like to this structure, but like it
Mm-hmm.
is nice to sometimes take a moment of your time. And I'm actually going to do this weekend because to myself, I was like, I'm in a pretty big transition period, or at least I feel like
Right.
going into this master's program, and I want to go in with a vision of some sorts, because for me that's helpful. Like I this past year was a lot of fun because like I had this vision of what I was working towards for like Ripple and all these things. And to some extent, I feel like I got that like micro like goal down. And
Mm-hmm.
so for me, I know if I don't set another one, it leads to really confuse like just like craziness in my head. And so
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
I went back to this document this past week also because the identity crisis Lumastic Live we talked about last week like also got me thinking about it. And I just think it's like a cool practice. So I'm actually my Sunday this weekend is like my
Cool.
mornings blocked off for this.
That's
Um,
so cool.
and so yeah,
It's
I don't know.
church. It's church.
Oh
We're
yeah, literally
creating
Sunday morning.
everyone. Yeah, everyone is creating our own
uh,
religion. Like,
yeah,
even I have weird wax symbols. Our
the
weird. Our,
Lumastic is like in
yeah.
it, right?
Yeah.
Kind of.
So this
Yeah,
is our first logo.
yeah.
And the I'll just tell this story quickly. Who knows? And it'll make a good clip, maybe. Yeah. So this is our first logo. The idea here was each of the little like endless knots in here are around like two different circles, and it's because basically like when we learn things, right? We have this idea of the aha moment, like where things feel like they connect and like everything just feels good. That moment, like teachers will tell you, creates like a real physical presence. Like what I did a couple classes in Curry, and when you talk to teachers, they say like this is like the addictive point is like seeing in the eyes of somebody like when they get it, like their eyes widen, their pupils dilate, and they like breathe in fast. And so I wanted to create a symbol of like that aha moment, that spark, right, of
Yeah.
inspiration. And so yeah, the endless knot, which is a
Sparks.
Celtic symbol that represents knowledge, wisdom, and compassion, is around an eye. It's inside of this eyeball, the iris.
Wow.
And yeah, so that was the vision of our first logo. And you can see even with iterations, like now the little like winged endless
Yeah.
knot is now our current logo. And that was the brand center team at VCU that did that little rebrand for us, because it did look a little culty. I admit it. But they liked this. They liked the story and the essence of it, and so
Look
they
culty. Oh my
yeah
gosh.
they did this like
The
really cool and
Lumastic cult.
you joke that we joke about that a lot. um,
Oh
One of
gosh.
our really good friends, Freddie, shout out to Freddie. He once told me that I'd make a really good cult leader. And ever since that moment, we've been like looking at everything like,
This clip's gonna go viral.
We're gonna get like banned off of Instagram and TikTok.
Yeah, people are gonna be looking up like, who is Drew Lytle? Like your name on Google is gonna go Drew Lytle cult? Question mark. Have you seen those videos of like celebrities peeling back like the Google search results and they like answer the question? Yeah. It's like we should have a clip of you. Is Drew Lytle back? It's like leader of a cult, and everyone's just like, what?
Oh man, that was really funny. Oh Lord. All right. Well, Joshua, in our last little 5 minutes here, I want to really pivot this Sarah said, "No cults." no cults.
Isn't that what they want? They want you to think.
Hannah said, "I had to do a blood ritual to join the intern team." Oh Lord, we can't joke about that.
We can't.
Lordy. But in this last 10-minute period, I really want to pivot this idea back to our little 6 concurrent viewers in the chat here about a lot of you we know, right? All these things, but I'd love to have a brief kind of overview of what you guys have taken away from this, or what you're reflecting on, what you're what practices in your life prevent you from having these kind of crises of identity, because what I talked about in my video is basically my initial solution here is to make more stuff, right? I've focused so much on one thing, and so the video I've got coming out on Monday is about how I've now wrapped my identity in that one thing and how bad that is too. And that happens to a lot of creators and entrepreneurs, so check out that video on my channel on Monday. Yeah, I think that it's really important to have practices like that we've talked about today, that kind of recenter you and remind you of what you feel is important, and bring you back to a sense of locus of control in your own life. So I'd love to I know that that's a deep question, and I think there's a character limit on chat messages in YouTube. Yeah. So, but I'd love if anybody wants to share anything. We keep the chat open for a little while. And while people are tip tap typing that away. Oh, sorry, you go. Joshua.
No, I was just gonna say, and another question I'm curious about is how have people navigated times where they felt like they are questioning identity, just in general, where do you go to or what's your first method of addressing that?
Yeah, and how do you find, because something for me is I feel like I've actually been having this identity crisis for months, but only really recognized that that's what was happening to me 3 weeks ago. And so I think that that's also a big part of this, and I think again it goes back to this whole, right, everybody's saying this is the solution to everything, but mindfulness, self-awareness, all these things, checking in with yourself, that seems to be the age-old solution. I just feel that's really, it's a very tall order sometimes, right? That's saying to somebody right, the I mean, this is not the same at all, but cure for depression is stop being depressed.
I was literally joking with a friend yesterday because I saw this meme. It was when Simba's dad died, and it was just don't worry about it. That was the solution they really told him, and we were joking about it. You can't.
Yeah, it's exactly. In those moments, you can't. Right? Oh my gosh. It's
you sad, just stop worrying, bro.
Yeah, exactly. And this is one of those things I really don't like about self-development and kind of productivity culture is a lot of it is framed around highly logical solutions to complex emotional problems, right? And
a certain personality type.
Yeah, exactly. And it that's why I'm saying it becomes like highly prescriptive and rigid in a way that like humans are not designed to be.
Yeah.
And that's like part of the reason that I got away from doing stuff like this. But I see that there is an in between. It's not two extremes. We have something in the chat here. So Hannah said, my past 3 years have been a constant identity crisis, so I don't know how to prevent it, but journaling, meditation, reading books, therapy, and trying new things has been helpful. Boom. Hannah, love that. Thank you for sharing.
Yeah,
Faith
thank you.
said, I'm an external processor, so I find talking with other people to be really helpful. My mom, Sarah, Chelsea, etc. Yes, this is something Faith and I share very deeply, and I think is why we enjoy talking to each other so much. Is like I and I've learned that this is actually a symptom of ADHD, so that's fun. Is like being an external processor, not knowing how to like really sift through your emotions in your own head, because you get scatterbrained really easily, and so the vocalization is the thing that kind of like slows you down and kind of like
Yeah.
lets you step through, and that is really really helpful. It's sometimes a point of tension between me and Sarah because Sarah is an internal processor, and so there are points where I'm like, I need to vomit things to you. Like, um yeah,
I think it's
so oh, you go.
I was just gonna say I think it's really helpful. I swear by this practice when people are writing their personal statements. I mean, and it works for probably like the external processors. But my friend
Yeah,
Saqib is applying to medical school, and he was having such a hard time of being like, "Who am I? What do I write about in this personal statement?" And I literally told them this was in February. I said, "Open up your voice like memos right now and hit record." And then so
yeah,
I started probing him with questions about like why medicine and all these things, and he started to like slowly get stuff out. And I was talking to him 3 days ago. He's writing his personal statement. He went back to the voice memo and it helped him like
wow,
really like write things down because he was
that's
saying like it's
awesome.
really, but like I think it is a pretty good practice because then also when people probe like
Yeah,
questions, you start to like think like, because I was asking him like, well, why medicine? Like your mom and dad are into medicine, but like
yeah,
why'd you like it from them? And then he would be like, oh, I grew up in Saudi Arabia, saw them doing this. And then I was like, well, then why, how did that translate to middle school? Like, why'd you continue into middle school liking it? And
yeah,
he started to like think it through, and which was just really cool. I don't know. I think
it's
like
awesome.
it's a pretty
It
cool tip. I did it for mine. It's a lot of
Oh,
super
Faith said
useful.
aw. Faith said aw.
Yeah.
um yeah, yeah, and that's like actually a little bit about how I do first rounds of videos now. Is I used to like word vomit stuff to Sarah, and then just like go try to write a script just so I could like get in the frame of mind of what I'm actually trying to say. And now she like in those moments is like record this, like record the external vocalization, because then it's the basis to go off of when I like go down to try to write. And Hannah and
Yeah.
I actually talked yesterday about how sometimes it can be hard to like sit in the blank page and like do stuff. And so a tip I would give to like any creator out there who struggles to like have the blank page and start to write down their ideas for a video they want to make or a script or something is like I set a timer for 35 minutes. I close my eyes, I listen to music, and I just like try to keep tapping the keys. Like that I tell myself that in 35 minutes I will have a draft of this video and I have to get to the end, right? Like, and so it's a speed round now. And I never get to the end of the video. I never finish the script, but I get to a point where I know what the video is about. Right? I've
Yeah.
vomited enough out of here that now I can go and like continue to write,
Yeah.
and feel more organized. And the page isn't blank. And like doing that time box really really has helped me because you see it ticking down and you're like, I gotta show something for this like time
Yeah.
that I've told myself I'm gonna get it done. So that's
A
just like
mini
a hot
sprint.
tip I would give. Hannah said 10 out of 10.
10 out of
10 out of 10 friend. I think that's you. That's what she's trying to say.
uh,
About you helping with the voice memo thing, which I
yeah.
agree, Joshua is a 10 out of 10 friend.
Nah,
um
you 100 out of 10.
oh
You
wow.
we stay supporting.
Cool friends. Well, we have reached the end of our little Lumastic Live chat
This
today.
one
On
flew.
this one flew by. I feel like we need to either do some sort of follow up or yeah, leave questions, thoughts, or whatever in the comments down below if you're watching the recording, because basically how we decide the next Lumastic Live is we like figure out what we didn't get to talk about enough in this Lumastic
Yeah,
Live.
yeah.
So if there's anything you want us to expand on or whatever, just leave them down below. Cool. Thank you, all of our friends, for watching, being here in the live stream. You can watch the recording later, share it, whatever. If there's anything valuable in there, you can find us on Instagram and Twitter at This Is Lumastic. Yeah, and be sure to click that subscribe button down below so you get notified when we go live again next week. Joshua, anything in closing? Closing thoughts, closing arguments?
I think no. My closing thoughts is more just an ask. Like it'd be really cool for people to comment what they thought, and at least the comment of this live stream, talk about kind of like answer some of the questions you were probing the last 10 minutes, and engage in conversations on Twitter with us. I think that'd be really cool to have some like within the week. Also help us like do some Lumastic lives of like topics people want to hear about. More than the kind of stuff that we draft, and it would be cool to do one. If people ask, like, can you do? I'm curious about this topic within the creator space or set topic. So I think that'd be really cool. Those are my asks. Yeah, that's it.
Boom. Well, everyone, thank you for being here. Enjoy your weekend. Good luck on your week, and we will see you next time. Bye.
Bye. Awesome.
Yay. Cool.